there are many of our people who are thinking more deeply and more broadly, looking at it as it actually is, and are beginning to see it more in the international context and the relation that it has with the African struggle, a human rights struggle, or the struggle for human rights. And as such, we can then take it into the United Nations.
And bring about the freedom of these people by any means necessary.
I think some interesting things have come out about how American capitalism has really proven its ineptness for African people. And yet some of our people still think that we have some type of thing to gain from this system. So I'm going to keep exposing the system and keep discussing the inconsistencies that exist and that affect our people disproportionately, if not completely. So let's talk about this new thing that has come out about how people have gone more into poverty as of the last few weeks. Another 1 million Americans entered poverty in the last few weeks as coronavirus pandemic drags on. Poverty keeps growing in the U.S. as COVID-19 cases reach record highs, forcing shutdowns, and the last of government support disappears this winter. In October alone, 1 million more Americans fell below the poverty threshold, a study from the University of Chicago found. A total of 7 million Americans have entered poverty since May, with Black Americans falling into poverty in greatest numbers. So let's pause right there. What have we consistently heard throughout this pandemic? African Americans, y'all are doing the worst. Y'all are getting affected the worst. Y'all getting coronavirus the worst. You are dying from coronavirus the worst. You're not accessing the business loans or business grants that are supposed to be relief for the coronavirus victims. It's always you guys, the worst, the worst, the worst, the worst, the worst. Now, keep that in mind. We've been the worst. And now they're saying that we're falling into poverty in the greatest numbers inside of this country. Now, that number is likely to grow as more relief provisions are set to expire at the end of this year, and the chances for more stimulus before the next administration takes hold are grim, okay? Now it says, for a few months, you can get by drawing down some savings, borrowing from friends, not paying the electricity bill so quickly, said Bruce Meyer, a University of Chicago economist. But the longer the recession continues and the more people are below the poverty line, the more trouble people are going to face. This all goes back to structural racism, it says in bold. Like many of the effects of the pandemic, poverty has affected some communities more than others. Around 3 million of the 7 million who entered poverty since May, or 43%, were Blacks. Okay? 43%. Y'all, we represent, from what they say we represent 13% of this population. 43% of the people who went into poverty, that was us. But Black Americans only make up 13% of the population. This all goes back to structural racism, where the barriers throughout the economy that limit economic opportunity for Black Americans, said a senior economist for the Center for American Progress. Many policymakers and economists are talking about how the economy is doing better than it was expected, but that thought process completely ignores the plight of Black Americans. And this is so ironic, right? Because we just heard that the stock market hit the highest record that it's ever hit, whereas our people are doing worse than probably we have in a very, very, very long time. So this begs the question, what are we fighting for when we say we're fighting for a part inside of a system of capitalism that has no affinity for you, no affinity for your life, no affinity for your family, no affinity for the fact that you have children or parents or grandparents? They have no affinity for that. Well, you might say, how is capitalism doing that to me? Well, think about it. I mean, we live in a system where even if you get healthcare, more than likely you have to get it through your job. But when you lurk inside of certain types of jobs that are easy to get cut and easy to put you in a position where you have no healthcare, where are you going to go? Well, you're not going to go to the government because they're saying, hey, your benefits are up, or hey, we can't really help you. Hey, you want help? Here's a bill for this many $1,000s. Good luck. That's not going to be workable, particularly when you're the people who have built this country, but have been exploited always and continually by this country. So that doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for you when you have to be out of work and you have no means of economic help. It doesn't work for you when you have no means of getting healthcare. It doesn't work for you. So the system is shown is not going to work for you. The question has to be for you. Why would you want this system to be the system of choice for you when it has shown you continually that they will disregard you and they will will dispose of you. Soon as times get hard, soon as times are showing that it might affect the bottom dollar for these white Wall Street capitalists, they will get rid of you. They will discard you. They won't care about you. So why care so much about something that has shown you it has no love for you? And before you say, oh, there's been times where, no, there hasn't been a time. Because when you go back to the beginning, what was our first experience with capitalism? It was the American slave trade. That was our first experience with capitalism, where we were sold as commodities for individual enrichment. Our bodies, which were always owned by us, always controlled by us, became the property of people, individuals who used us for their own personal enrichment. What was our other experiences with capitalism? Oh, there's been many, obviously, right? But then, of course, you have the experience of being low-wage workers. Then you have the experience of being used for the prison industrial complex as labor to fuel the system. The examples are so many that it really scares me when I hear people fight for something that they have no interest in. Now, if you're one of those people who maybe you've done okay with the system, you've done better than others, then good for you. But I hope that your affinity is for your collective community, your community collectively, and not for your own individual enrichment, because otherwise you are flatly a traitor to your liberation and the liberation of Africans globally. So that's what I have on this. What are your guys' thoughts, particularly on the thing? And if you're someone who, doesn't agree with me on this, I always welcome dialogue on this channel. But I really want people to make it make sense. When you're talking about something like the stock market doing better than ever, and yet we're doing worse than ever, when you're talking about the fact that these billionaires like Jeff Bezos are doing better than ever, and we're doing horribly, make it make sense for me. And I will definitely be looking for your comments. So I'll see you guys in the next video.
This is Deja with We Charge Colonialism, also known as WCC. And today I wanted to give you guys some information about the Justice Bank Initiative. Now, first things first, Black people, you are being hunted in America. And to back that claim, I do have a couple of facts. A Black person is 5 times more likely to be stopped without just cause than a white person. 65% of Black adults have felt targeted due to their race. 5% of illicit drug users are African American, yet African Americans represent 29% of those arrested and 33% of those incarcerated for drug offenses. Despite making up close to 5% of the global population, the US has nearly 25% of the world's prison population. African Americans are incarcerated at more than 5 times the rate of whites. Black people, we are being hunted in America. And here are some more facts. In 2014, African Americans constituted 2.3 million, or 34% of the total 6.8 million correctional population. The imprisonment rate of African American women is 2 times that of white women. Nationwide, African American children represent 32% of children who are arrested, 42% of children who are detained, and 52% of children whose cases are judicially waived to criminal courts. And African American children, they only represent 14% of the population. Black people, we are being hunted. Now, how do we fight back? Well, at We Charge Colonialism, our first project is known as the Justice Bank Initiative, or you can call it the JBI. Now, what is the Justice Bank Initiative? The Justice Bank Initiative is a mutual aid group under the supervision of We Charge Colonialism. Any person of African descent can become a member, and if you are a paying member for 3 months and become a victim to the racist criminal injustice system, you may be eligible for funds towards your bail or legal fees. Also, how does it work? Well, we are democratic. We're democratic in our policies, rules, and oversight of the JBI is carried out by all of its members equally. You pay a monthly fee of $10 to the JBI. And after 3 months, you are considered eligible for assistance for any bail or legal fees incurred after the 3-month period. Any nonviolent charge is eligible for up to 1/3 of the JBI funds, and violent charges are decided on a case-by-case basis and voted on by members. Now, if you're interested in joining, you can email us at justicebankinitiative@gmail.com. And if you are simply interested in supporting, considering donating to our GoFundMe, or buying a t-shirt or hoodie on our Teespring at the links down below, all donations will go towards the JBI. Now, we hope you will join in this effort as we organize to fight a racist and justice system. And by the way, here are the shirts. They're pretty cool. You have Huey P. Newton, Assata Shakur, Mumia Abu Jamal, and Stokely Carmichael, also known as Kwame Ture. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you really do join the JBI. Better yet, join us at We Charge Colonialism. We're all in this together.